Good evening and welcome to Book Talk Live. We are your hosts today, Dr. Kendra Washington Bass, and
Kelly Peaks Horner, we are on air.
we are on the air. Listen, happy Black History Month to you too, Kelly, because you
Yes,
know we all
it's
came
part of
from
my
that.
history too.
That's right. So happy Black History Month to all of you. Just know that this is a month that we get to celebrate even blacker, I guess. I mean, I don't know, right? But this is really a time to acknowledge the contributions of people who've built this country and continue to make it flourish. Also, for our indigenous and our um, multiracial groups who celebrate, thank you so much for your contributions, especially in light of what's been happening in the media recently and the degradation of Black people. And it was beautiful to see the uplifting of all during the Super Bowl and the beautiful colors and the culture. And so I big up to my Boricuas out there, especially being from the Bronx and having the opportunity to have friends and understand the culture of Puerto Rico. I really feel empowered and at the same time saddened, right? Saddened a little bit that we still are wrestling with images and depictions of Black people in this country, and that continues to be the trope that's out there. So today's segment and discussion is actually apropos because part of that is understanding how things like that, the way that people stereotype women, people of color, queer folks, has a lot to do with what we also take on and what we need to put down. So, welcome to Name the Thing and welcome to our Book Talk Live. Again, we're so happy that you are here. If you are joining us, please feel free to put where you're coming from in the chat. We like to be able to engage in a conversation with you, but this is really about setting the stage about what we mean when we say name the thing.
Yeah. And let me just add to what you just said for my community. Um, During this month, if if especially and in connection with what is happening in our country today, um, if you want to honor or if you want to take this month, and I hope you take more than a month, but if you want to take this month to learn what you don't know, because you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
um, One of the political action groups, and Kendra knows I belong to a couple of political action groups, and one I belong to asked me at one point, can I do some training for them around just organizing? And I
Mhm.
went to the books I have written by the very best community organizers, political organizers that I know, and that is Black women. So if you want to honor this month in any way, if you want to expand on your own learning, I would encourage you to look at how Black women have been the foundation of all of the changes in our country, all the organizing. If you want to learn what to do for your community, for your people, for your neighbors, what they're doing in Minneapolis, it's been done before and it's been done by some amazing Black women, and they are part of our history. And that's why I said to you, Kendra, it is my history too, because
Yeah.
Black history is American history.
Absolutely, and thank you for sharing that. I mean, there is a lot of what will come out when we are celebrating Women's History Month are the women of the civil rights movement. Typically, they get overlooked because those women were the ones holding down what was happening in the background, the organizing, the creating of pamphlets and flyers, the creation of designs and pickets, getting people to register to vote. They were foot soldiers on the ground, ensuring that those who were out um, in the open, those who were leading the cause, had what they needed in order to share the message. So
Yep.
there would not be a Martin without a Coretta. There would not be a Martin without an Ella Baker. There would not be a Martin without a Fannie Lou Hamer. And so, really recognizing the women who were the backbone and continue to be the backbone of civil rights movement. So, we hope that this Lucy Leadership Project, this mission that we have, is a contribution to that movement to really find voice for women, women of color, queer women who are the foot soldiers and we can finally get equal say, equal pay, equal footing, equal recognition, and no longer have to be quiet and silent. So let's talk a little bit about name the thing. Some of you are here. Thank you again for joining us. If you are, give us some love, show us some love in the chat, or subscribe to our YouTube page. Just hit that subscribe button because that matters. It really helps, again, for you to contribute to our movement of ensuring that women are thriving in areas of leadership. So again, welcome to Book Talk Live. Let's talk about name the thing, Kelly. I mean, let's go a little bit around where this came from, but even going before that, um, this came out of our book, The Unwrap, The Pursuit of Justice for Women Educators. Oh, that book?
Oh,
That's
this one? Are you talking about this one?
this one right here with my
Right
notes all in there. When you
here?
tab your own book, it
I
is
know.
something about tabbing your own book. I had a chance to I get a chance to reread it. You do too. And sometimes it is heavy when you reread those parts and you realize you actually put words on paper, and then it's a reminder, right, of how good the book actually
Yeah.
is, right? It's a really good storytelling, and we're proud of it, and we don't make any apologies for saying how proud we are of this love story, not only to ourselves, but love story to the many women out there. And so we wanted to share a little bit about name the thing today, but we're going to ground it in this idea of understanding your story, which is where we want to start. And as you can see from this excerpt, you begin to unwrap the layers of learning to discover how you've navigated your leadership journey so you can begin to free yourself and be unapologetically you. We hear that a lot, what it means to be unapologetically you. But to do that, you really have to understand where you came from. So I want to say thank you. Thank you to the beautiful women who came to understand.
There's my Valentine to them.
Is that it? It looks
That's
more
my
scary,
Valentine.
so you need to put that. Yeah,
Yeah, but I'm afraid my fingers are gonna go someplace obscene, so that's why I'm always afraid.
we were sold out, y'all. I mean, we sold out of this experience of our Unwrap Framework series, and to kick it off, we kicked it off with understand your story. And Kelly, just tell a little bit about what you felt in that moment and why starting there was so important.
It was, I knew it would be powerful, but I couldn't even imagine how powerful it really was. I mean, we laughed, we cried, we got stumped in some places. We 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 got curious.
Yeah.
Um, but I think most of all, what I appreciated so much about the women who were in that virtual room is that they were so courageous and brave to come and because just like us, I was trying to think about this the other day, Kendra. I think what our Unwrapped series does is take them through a lot of what you and I went through for 2 years in writing this
Right.
book.
Yeah.
And so we took them through really understanding, why are you showing up the way you're showing up? What were the messages you heard from a very, very, very young girl? Like and some of those messages were intentional and some of them were not intentional.
For sure.
What going back to the most powerful role models in your life, which were women, other women, could be grandmothers, aunts, cousins, neighbors,
Mhm.
women at church, whoever that was for you, what were some of those messages that were sent to you as to how you should show up, what you should say, what you should look like, how you should dress, how you should speak. And then exploring around what were some of those crossroads where maybe
Yeah.
you chose another path or maybe you stayed on the same path. But the bottom line is asking the question, is it serving me now?
Yep.
And if it is, how do you strengthen that? If it's not, how do you put that, what do you call it?
Mhm.
How do you put that down? And then what do you pick up in its place? And so we spent 3 hours, and actually
Yeah.
we probably could have spent another 6 hours.
I know. It was so listen, I'm gonna go very Bronx right now. It was so dope. It was more than I even thought, right? Just thinking about it. And I think it had to do with two things. One, it was all women who said, I want to invest in my unwrapping journey. And then two, it was who they were in the room. The mixture of experiences and ages and ethnic groups. We had women from Dallas, Chicago, New Jersey, Connecticut,
Massachusetts,
um, Massachusetts, Virginia,
Georgia.
Georgia, New York. And quite frankly, me, my mother, and another friend, we were in South Bend, Indiana. And so we were all over the place. And it was beautiful in that the women in their breakout groups just immediately sort of connected. And that has a lot to do with shared story, the shared story we had. And then this other beautiful thing happened. So we were sold out. The picture you see here are the women who stayed on past the time. Like we just kept talking. And one of the things that they did was like, how can we continue to talk to each other between sessions? And so now we have this mini group of women who are going to be connected for a lifetime through this experience. And so it was soul filling. And I say that I send texts to women. I mean it. It's not a sales pitch. It's like it was soul stirring
Yeah.
to see it come alive in that way, and how women were just so free to be. That's the thing about the Unwrapped Framework series, because you just come as you are, coffee in hand, fuzzy slippers, no makeup, curlers in your head, froggy voice, or in your fabulousness, however that looks for you. You just come, and guess what? Nobody was like, girl, look at you. There was no judgment. It was just, it was just being.
It was such a brave space, and
Mhm.
for women who have never been in a space with a mixed group of women, before, I wish for you this kind of an experience because as you said, Kendra, we had women from all with all kind of different lived experiences, different racial mixes, different regional
Yeah.
mixes,
Yeah.
um, and to come together and to spoken and unspoken promise each other this is going to be a brave space for us
Mm.
to be
Yeah.
able to talk about whatever we need to talk about and offload whatever it is that we need to offload to do this work was just incredible. So when when I invite people and I think what it is, and I think for you and I don't want to speak for you, but I know you have this same dream when we created
Yes.
the Loosely Leadership Project, and that is to create this unwrapped community.
Yes.
I think that's what we saw come together in such an amazing, powerful, and beautiful way. This was community.
This was what we've been looking for.
Yep. This was
Yeah.
sisterhood.
This was sisterhood in a way where people weren't like jockeying for what you want, what can I get from you and what can you get? It just was an experience that I want for the rest of my life, that I had at some points in my life, and I could continue to yearn for those and try to curate these spaces. And I think, Kelly, we are there is a this can be this it is starting to be
Yeah.
something that can grow into an experience that women are yearning for and are not typical. There are tons of experiences I know that people are curating across the world that feels like this. We just want this other space to exist within that space. So we were sold out. We had 20 women participate. And we call that sold out for us because we don't want, 50 women in the room. At some point, maybe we will. But to have just 20 to 25 women in this Zoom space, this virtual space, it gave us an opportunity to hear every single voice
Yeah.
and to create mini communities in that. And because of that, want to just share that we had a waiting list. I mean, there were people who were like, I can't make it. What do you have that I, can sign up for? So we have a second session. And Kelly, if you describe a little bit about what this means, and I'm going to put in the chat for those of you the link. You have the QR code right there on the screen. You can take that, but I'm going to put it in the chat for
Yeah.
those of you watching on YouTube or Facebook or even on TikTok. I'm going to put it in there in just a sec.
Okay, so the QR code that you see on the screen is a QR code to the exact same session we did on January 31st. It's the exact same session of understanding your story, writing your origin story, trying to figure out what is that thing. It's the same session. So it's for those women who missed it, who couldn't make it, or who have a sister within their community or sisters within their community who say, you need to do this. I want to do this with you together. They can catch up because you'll see in a minute that this is the first in a series. And
Right.
so we wanted to make sure that everybody who wants to be in that and have that first experience, because you'll carry that experience with you through the rest of the series, can have that opportunity to do that. So we're going to have a second understand your story. This is writing your origin story. This is walking through the river of life. This is the whole thing we'll do with you. It's a second session of the same one we did February 21st. And this is a Saturday. We do them on Saturdays, so you don't have to worry about work. You can roll out of bed at 8:45, grab your coffee, and log into Zoom. Once you're registered, we'll send you a workbook
Yep.
that you'll use during the session, and it's for 3 hours from 9 to 12. Again, I'm going to say what Kendra said, and that is we don't care what you look like. We don't care how you show up. We don't care if, you need to have your emotional support dog on your lap. We don't care what you
Or
need
cat.
or cat. Bring
That's
it with you, bring it with you, and just come as you are, and we'll walk you through the exact same experience. So that's the QR code you see on the screen. The one you see above Kendra's head, we'll talk about in a minute, and that's for the next workshop in the series. So
Yeah.
again, this work, it builds on each other. And here's what we have been in pursuit of since we started Lucy Leadership. And as you said, Kendra, there's a lot of other groups, organizations, communities doing really great work with women's leadership. What we've been looking at is where are the voids? What is it that we don't get in, let's say, traditional leadership development? We get a lot around um, we might get things around leadership styles. We might get stuff around resume writing. We might
Yep.
get stuff around
Interviews.
interviewing, all of that. And all that stuff. We would never say that stuff's not important, but what we say is it's not sufficient.
Yeah.
Because, and I'm going to use my data head, because if you look at the data around women's leadership, especially in education, which is where we come from, and by the way, we write our book based on our experience in education, but it is a woman's story. It's every woman's leadership story. And so if you look at just the data in women's leadership in education, we ebb and flow.
Right.
We get to the highest pinnacles of like superintendents, deputies, and then it goes down. So basically, if you look at it over time, it's pretty flat.
Right.
And so we're trying to figure out why are we not thriving in those areas? What is happening? And so we're looking at those elements of thriving. And the first one starts with understanding why you're showing up the way you are. What are those messages that you keep hearing? I remember one woman said, I just realized that every time I make a decision, the voice in my head says, is this what my mom wants me to do? Is this,
Mm,
she'd be proud if I did this? Rather than doing it for herself and understanding this is my passion, this is what I want to do, this is the life I want to lead. She heard that message. Now that may be unintentional from her mom, but
right.
somehow it embedded in her brain that that's what I have to go through. And it wasn't serving her anymore because she was playing so safe.
Right.
So we're going to do a second session for any woman out there who said, "Ooh, I can't make it on that day," and or you've got colleagues, teammates, sisters in your life and in your community at your church, wherever it is that you think could go through this and can be your companion going through the series, send them the QR code or send them the link and get them registered. But same thing, understand your story, February 21st, that's a Saturday, virtual classroom on Zoom from 9 to 12 p.m. Eastern
Excellent.
time.
Eastern time. So we hope to see you there or a sister of yours who you're going to join with us. So that leads us to name the thing. So now let's talk about just give a little sneak peek into what women are going to experience at the second session, which is going to be on February 28th. So we'll give you all those dates in just a minute. But I want to start first with you, Kelly, because you describe what you discovered about yourself in such a unique way, and it's such an intriguing way. I mean, it had me at the edge of my seat, like, wow. So just give a little bit of your backstory, and then
Yes.
why peacekeeping.
So when we started writing the book, and we just started writing about, what's our life look like? What does what have been our life experiences? What did growing up look like? What did family look like? What were the messages we heard? And as I was writing the story, I didn't see the patterns until later into the story. And I think part of this is why it's so important to do this in community. So you and I were in community together writing
Right.
the book. And you would read a chapter and say, "Nope, I need to know more about that. Nope, I need to know more about that. I need you to dig a little deeper over here." And so as I would do that, I suddenly started seeing these patterns. And when I say patterns, what I had experiences like, and this was something I took on. It was not asked of me, but it was something I took on. I realized that I needed calm waters in my life. I needed to keep the peace, right? So I did things like always reminding my dad, mom's got a birthday coming up. And we lived very close to a mall, and he would give me, at the time, $20 to go down to the mall, get her a gift, wrap it up. So he had it for her on her birthday. Same thing for Christmas. Dad, you have an anniversary coming up. At 11 years old, I would make dinner reservations, so he had something to do. And he never really asked me to do it, but I knew that if something wasn't done for those, there would be an uncomfortableness, within the house. It wasn't volatile and it wasn't traumatizing. It was just uncomfortable. I remember going to my grandfather's funeral, and I loved my grandfather. He was just really a unique kind of guy. We didn't spend a lot of time with him. He was from deep South Mississippi, and just didn't, we lived in the big city of Washington, D.C. And, so I remember when he died, and I'm sitting at the funeral, and I fought back the tears because it was uncomfortable for me to show that emotion.
Mm.
So I carried that messaging with me through school, through college, through work, and it served me until it didn't.
Mm.
And when it didn't is when I didn't speak up for myself when I needed to speak up for myself, because I didn't want to either hurt someone's feelings, or I didn't want to disrupt, or I didn't want to make things uncomfortable for other people, or I didn't speak up for other people when I should have.
Mm.
And so when it didn't serve me anymore, I needed to figure out how to put that down. So it wasn't until we went through that process together that I knew what to call it. I knew what it was. I knew what to call it. And I knew I needed to put down being a peacekeeper and pick up something else.
Mm.
And so that was my origin story. That was my way. And let me just stop here for just a second, because I do want to reference the book.
Yeah.
Just a second. So I'm just going to read to the audience just a very short clip in the book. And this is towards the end of my origin story. So what have I begun to learn and understand? Writer Sue Monk Kidd, in her novel, The Dance of the Dissident Daughter, writes this: "There is no place so awake and alive as the edge of becoming.
Mm.
But more than that, birthing the kind of woman who can authentically say, 'My soul is my own,' and then embody it in her life, her spirituality, and her community, is worth the risk and hardship. Intentionally and specifically knowing and valuing who I am and how I can contribute is essential and is my becoming. I am becoming unwrapped. It is the core of authenticity. It is a step toward tearing down those self-protection practices like keeping the peace we
Mm.
all put up to keep from being seen.
Mm.
So I needed to put it down.
It's so, I mean, the word becoming, we've heard Michelle Obama's book is becoming. The word becoming has bubbled up as the term to really try to understand the journey that women are on to be themselves, right? And the fact that it is becoming, right? It has a gerund, right? An ing at the end means it's still a work in progress. Like I became,
Right.
right? It's not voila and I'm here. I've arrived. It is I continue to be a work in progress. And I think that's for women, we have to give ourselves permission to be a work in progress. And I'm speaking to my sisters specifically. We are continue to be a work in progress. And that leads to a little bit about, what came for me, Kelly, and that is, the origin story was not necessarily new for me. So to be able to sit down and write about how I sort of arrived where I was, I think I was pretty open about um, what was happening along the way. What it did was when I put it to paper, I was then able to see the patterns.
Mhm.
And writing the origin story, doing the understand your story process, allow me to slow down enough to see what was serving and what was draining.
Mhm.
And so here's what I learned. So for those of you who've read the book, who know us and who know me, know that I was born and raised in New York City. I say that because that has a lot to do
Yes.
with my unwrapping. So I was born and raised in New York City, born in Harlem, moved to the Bronx when I was about 12 years old. And in that Harlem time, that moment of early years, that's where I was mostly shaped. Because in those early years, I was surrounded by the Black matriarchs of my family,
Mm.
not the patriarchs. One, my dad was just not around me growing up. So I didn't have that experience of having a male figure in my home. My brother was the youngest, so I was the oldest. I did have an uncle, and so he was sort of around. And there were male figures, but the women in my family held down, when I say everything, everything. I think I told you, I knew my great great grandmother, affectionately known as Mama. Helen was her real name. And Mama and Papa were the family heads. I always heard them talk about them, but I did not meet my great great grandfather. But my great great grandmother was still alive, Mama, and it was always something at her house. Always a get together, a card game, a tragedy. Everyone went there, right? And so I saw her, I saw my grandmother, and my mother. And here's what I learned from watching them and listening to them: keep it together,
Mm.
keep it together, go into solve the problem immediately, fix it. Fix it, fix it for someone, whether you fixing food, fixing a place to lay your head, fixing a money situation. The women kept their money in the bosoms, or my great grandmother kept hers pinned to her girdle. So if you were in a bind, they made it happen. They found a way. So that's what I was learning. Make it happen, find a way, fix the problem, keep it together. Okay, so now I moved to the Bronx. At this point, I'm removed from that larger family. It's my mother and my brother and I. Now my mom's is single. She's working 7 days a week. She's trying to live a different life or change the trajectory a bit. And what I watched was work, 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 work. Yeah, a little homage to Rihanna, right? Work, 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 work. 7 days. Keep it together. Fix everything, right? And keep going. Work. So now I got the work tacked onto it. So guess what I did? Worked, 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 worked. Keep it together. Fix everything. So I started working at the age of 14. I had a job. I played basketball. I was top of my class. I took care of my brother. Anyone who messed with my brother, you were about to fight with me. Like all of that. And around me was, it was the 80s. So you had the crack epidemic. You had AIDS epidemic. You had poverty. It's the 80s. So there was a recession going on. Interest rates are high. We are like in that stew. And in all of that, keep it together, fix everything, work, 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 right? Those messages got even deeper because I understood we were in very precarious time. There was no time for rest. There was no time to think about yourself, right? You got to fix and take care of and work. And I brought that through college. I brought that through my early career. That is what people knew me for. Now, here's the thing. It served me very well. And and as I continued to get older, I was deteriorating inside. So among sort of Black folk, I was the one that people can depend on. I was the one that, Kendra, can you do this? Right. And I absolutely loved being needed. I loved being asked to give my opinion, to solve a problem, because I was conditioned to do that. And then I got into spaces, specifically from college and parts of my career, where just to name it just plainly, around white people who saw me as a threat and did not see me the way my Black and my Latinx counterparts saw me, threw me for a loop. It was like, wait. Fix it. Work, 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 work. Keep it together. Take care of everything. And I hear, you don't deserve this. You only got here because of affirmative action. Keep quiet. You too Black. Are you in a gang? Like, so now I'm in a tizzy. And one of the things that I learned about myself, the thing that I named for me was hustler. I grew up in a hustling family, like street hustling family, and hustling for my worth. And around white environments, I hustled differently. I was like, okay, so they don't see that part that my family, my people saw me. So let me sort of transform into something very palpable for white people to appreciate. And that is when it went from serving me. It still did, but it went to the point where I did not know who I was. I started to look different, sound different, behave different. And then I started to feel it in my body. I started to feel it in my mind. Over time, that was not sustainable. In fact, in the book, there is a section in the chapter that I wrote, Kelly, in Search of the Truth. There's a section on hustling. And I say, like, to be who I am requires hustling, doing anything I need to get done to meet the objective. True hustlers do not waver. They go for it. They navigate, fall, get back up, keep moving. In my recovery, this is where I want to be. Now, I have seen I have been sort of hustling through life, right? There were periods of lucidity. I would be firing on all cylinders, being a problem solver, problem avoider, planner, and thinking about ways to improve the work and recognition of women, especially Black women. But then I would get knocked down and retreat into my comfort zone. Eventually, I would slowly make my way back to that space. In fact, you all, I have this tattoo. It's on my back and it's of a phoenix. And it's a reminder of the hustler I want to be. It's in me subconsciously, and I know. So I want to be this different type of hustler, not the one that on the surface, oh, it was so interesting. This happened the other day. One woman said to me on Monday, I kid you not, I would never know that you are like flustered because you are like calm, cool, collected. And I bet you on like a duck on water, you are
Yeah.
paddling away. Because I was running late in my mind. I was stuck in traffic and I was just flustered because you know what? Then I didn't have it together. I walked into a space, even though I was like 15 minutes early, a friend of mine called me, Kelly, and was like, Kendra, where are you? Because I've created and conditioned people around me to know that if something starts at 9:30, I'm gonna get there at 8:30. Well, it's 9 o'clock and I wasn't there. When
Mm.
he called and was like, that's not like you. And right away, that like took me into that old Kendra, like, it's not like me, it's 9 o'clock, I'm not there. What are they gonna think about me? And I typically in the past, I would have never said anything. In that moment among folks, I was like, look, let me just tell y'all something. Right now, I am panting. I am a little foggy because I got stuck in traffic and I thought I was going to be late. I am not at the top of my game right now. And that's when the woman said, I would never know it. Of course not, because I have spent 54 years
How to cover that up.
covering up that I don't look like I'm failing, falling, uh, having a moment. And so I've begun to embrace the two sides of the hustling. And now I can discern which one shows up. The hustler who is like hustling for Kendra to be her, or the hustler, the person who is trying to be someone for someone else. And she comes back and forth. So that's why the becoming word, Kelly, when you said becoming, that is just a great way of understanding. Like you never stop becoming you never stop being a peacekeeper.
No.
I never stop being a hustler, but I can put it in check. And I recognize when I get to that point, something is off. It's a signal to stop for a second and check my surroundings.
Yeah.
What's happening that's causing me to feel or want to say or want to retreat to that other hustling Kendra versus stay here, stay in your unwrapped moment. Don't go to the dark side.
Yeah.
Stay here. And it's been intriguing to know that. It's been freeing. It's liberation to know that. So that's what we want women to experience, to have you unwrap and understand your story and to absolutely put a name to the thing that you've been carrying, and it's serving you well and it's also draining the hell out of you.
Well, and I want to go back to the word becoming just for just a second, because part of what we talked about with the women was writing your origin story, and understanding your origin story is a lifetime activity. It's a lifetime
Right.
pursuit because you're not dead yet.
Right.
You know, your origin story ends when you die. So you are constantly becoming. You're
Right.
constantly unwrapping. You're constantly figuring things out. And so, you know, some of them were kind of in this dismay around, why haven't I figured this out before? Why haven't? Because you're just not there yet. It's
Yeah.
a process. It's all part of a process. And the other part of that is, and this comes up in the unwrapped framework where we start talking about reframing the narrative. And for my peacekeeper, it's not, I love part of myself that is a peacekeeper.
Oh yeah, I would like you to be a peacekeeper too in some instances.
Yeah. Well, okay. So that's what so it's about reframing my peacekeeper
Mhm.
around where does it serve me? Where does it not serve me? And where it
Right.
doesn't serve me is when I don't speak up,
Yeah.
when I don't, whether that's for myself or someone else. So now I reframe my peacekeeper, and my peacekeeper is more like, let's redefine what peace means. And
Yeah.
peace might mean I need to do a little disrupting in order to get to the peace. I need to make some folks a little bit uncomfortable in order to get to the peace. And whose peace is important to me?
Mm.
Because it's not always my community's peace that's important to me. And so I need to be a peacekeeper for others as well. So it's about reframing all of that.
Yeah, and so what you'll experience in Name the Thing is an opportunity for you to do this like audit, right? To look at patterns. And we're going to look at patterns in a way that helps you to understand your well-being. So this is where well-being is going to come into play. How are you? What is happening in your life right now? So you're going to do an environmental scan and we'll use well-being as part of that. And then the second is as you're thinking about that environmental scan and how well you are in these 5 components of well-being, what is the thing that is continuing to show up as part of that pattern? And you're going to put a name to it. And you're going to tell us some stories about how it shows up in ways that serve you and how it shows up in ways that drain you, very similar to what we just described.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna put this back up for us. So this was, let me go back because this is Kelly's, right? Being the peacekeeper. No, 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 no. Just tap it down now. And this is me. Yeah, just smile.
Yes, I can do
All the
it.
balls in the
Sure, I
air.
can do it. Yeah,
I
I
can
can
do
do
it.
that.
Yeah, 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 for sure. Just give it here.
Yeah.
Just give it. I love that clip of Ayala Van San saying, "Why are you taking on someone else's mess?"
Yes.
That's me. You got mess, give it.
Yeah. I'll take care of it. I'll
I'll
clean it up
take care
for
of
you.
it because I know how to do it. Right?
Yeah.
I'm a fix it. I think that's why I also became an educator. I'm gonna fix kids. I'm gonna fix the system. I'm gonna fix the community. Do like all I think about all the different things and experiences I've had. I've had the fixer keep it together. You know, I see that, right? And so that's how we're showing up. So here is where we are. We've launched the framework series. We had this fantastic community of women and understand your story. And those of you who are logging on today, mwah, thank you. Thank you for it is an honor and we don't take it lightly to facilitate and also learn from you through this experience. And so we had that on January 31st. We have a makeup for that session for those of you who are like missed it. If you got that fear of missing out,
Little FOMO.
fear not, because on February 21st from 9 to 12, we're having a secondary session.
Or if you've told someone, another woman
Correct.
about it, and they wish they had come, then tell them. And if you can't, if it's hard to share this, tell them to go to our website,
That's right.
lucyleadershipproject.com, and they can register.
Yes. But the next session is Name the Thing. And that is on February 28th, again from 9 to noon Eastern Standard Time. And you can see all the remaining dates and all the remaining series sessions. So, Kelly, just walk them through. Once you name the thing, what happens?
So once you name once you understand your origin story and you have figured out those patterns, we're going to put some words to it and figure out how is it showing up in all areas of your well-being so that you can thrive. Work with your strengths. You know, all of us have been in interviews or been asked by people in some way, shape, or form. So tell me about your strengths. And we
Mhm.
might know them, we might not know, we might just make crap up, right? You know what? I've read the job description. I'm gonna tell them exactly what my strengths are because it's got to fit the job description, right? We want you to know specifically what your strengths are and be able to name them. And
Mhm.
again, this is a stacking, right? Each one of these integrates with the next one. So then you can look at your strengths and say, how can I leverage my strengths within my well-being to make that thing
Mhm.
work for me?
Right.
Or do I need to pick something else up because I've
Yeah.
just described my strengths and no, this is counter to
Right.
who I
I'm
am.
throwing it away.
When we
Right.
say strengths, what we're going to help you figure out is how do you uniquely think, feel, and behave? And it's
Yes.
different for all of us. Then we want to go into reframing the narrative. Reframing the narrative is really about what are those boundaries that you need to set so that you can make that thing work for you, make your strengths work for you, show
Mhm.
up fully in your strengths. And if you show up fully in your strengths, you're showing up authentically. If you're aligning your well-being, then you cannot thrive without boundaries. And
Right.
so we're going to talk about and we're going to reframe. And we say, and I love the word reframe because when we hear boundaries, what women usually will ask me is, Kelly, I can't say no. How do I say
Right.
no? Boundaries are not necessarily about always saying no. And we define boundaries this way. How do you allow people to have access to you?
Mhm.
So we'll talk about that. Then we'll move into aligning your purpose. What are those things that you're most passionate about? What are those things what are those things that you want to achieve? What not the messages that you've heard that this is what I have to do. This is how I need to stay in this job and grind. What is your purpose? And that relates also back to well-being because purpose is one of the elements, is a critical element of well-being. In fact, I would say it's kind of the umbrella of well-being because our purpose is really where we spend a lot of our time. It's where we want to show up. It's who we want to invest in. It's what we want to invest in. So we'll align everything to your purpose. And then when we get to the very last one, prioritizing with what is strong, is we're going to take everything we've learned in the first five sessions, put them together, put a big bow around it, and send you off into the world.
Well, here you creating
Not
your
as a new person or a different person,
right.
but as truly and authentically who you are and who
It's
you
your
want
brave new ending. It's the brave new ending that it's
you're
the chapter.
becoming.
Yep, it's the chapter in our book that Kelly wrote around a brave new ending. So how do you want to then tell your story and be in your story and lead it?
And I'll dig into some of that daring leadership stuff. And that is, how do you pick up courage and put down the armor? Because that thing that we have, you may not have named yet, is your armor. You're using it as armor around you. I use my peacekeeping as armor. And so my armor was working for me because it kept, I showed
Mhm.
up as the agreeable one. I showed up as, oh, of course, Kelly, we're going to put her on that committee because she'll get things done. She won't complain. She, she'll agree with whatever, the leadership says, and she'll just get it done. And that's what I did. And so
Mhm.
how do you now want to show up? It's truly is part of your becoming.
Yeah, and so that's a good example for me was get to work really, really early, leave late, come home, put the laptop on my lap, continue to work, maybe have some dinner, say hello to the family, and do it on repeat. Oh, and by the way, do it on Saturdays and do it on Sundays.
Rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat.
Rinse and repeat. And let me, y'all,
Yeah.
some of y'all on here know you do that. And some of you, as women of color, we do that.
How many of you have ever looked back on photographs of an event of a family and go, "When did that happen?
Yeah, where
I
was I?
didn't know I didn't know they were here or there. Oh, I wish I could have talked to that." Because we were doing the thing. We were doing the stuff, and
Yeah,
we were pulling it off for everybody else, and it doesn't mean you still don't do that, but it just means you get to participate now and be part of
yeah, yeah. The other thing is, I've also have to begin to learn to allow people to help.
Yes.
But it's like, oh, can I get that for you? No, I'm good.
And it's okay if they help and it's not done exactly the way.
It is not.
Oh, sorry.
No, there is a right way. No, see, right. These are all the little things, the
Yes.
idiosyncrasies that come into play. That is like, wait a minute here, right? If you want to have relationship with someone and they are offering to do something for you, which is a gift, and you're like, no, what message are you continuing to send? And also, what message are you sending to yourself that you have to be the only one to be able to do this? Because eventually, someone like me, it bubbles over.
Yeah.
And it bubbles over, as you say, Kelly, it metastasizes in physical pain, anxiety, heart palpitations, sleeplessness, all that stuff, because we're in constant motion. I mean, I haven't had, I still suffer from some insomnia, but I sleep much better than I used to. I mean, 4 hours of sleep, 2 hours of sleep, staying up all hours, and my mind racing because I sure did not want to drop one of those balls. Because shoot, that's my reputation.
Yeah.
Shoot, that's my character. Oh, shoot, they just need one excuse to say that the Black girl doesn't know what she's doing. And so I was in constant, like, do not up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, don't do it, right? And I hear our sisters talking like, I got to be 2 times as good. I got to be. I understand where that comes from. I am in that world with you. And then by 54, 55, we're dead.
Yeah. Literally.
We had our first heart attack at the age of 40 something.
Yeah.
Or we've passed out in the middle of a meeting.
Or we just quit and we tap out.
Right. So again, all of those things. So, you know, sister, I see some folks in here, sisters, y'all know this cannot be our our forever story. There is a way to sort of break free from that. Okay. So as a reminder, if you missed Understand Your Story, the first one, we're having a makeup. We're having an extra one on February 21st. Z, you have a friend that you know we want to bring along with you and she missed it when we were together. Please, Miss Russ, if you're like, okay, I'm going to be down with this on the 21st, come on, because we would love to experience.
And it gets you in line to go through the rest of the series.
Absolutely. So here we are, the Unwrapped Experience, final call, not final call, but you know, for this conversation. Here's the cost for a limited time. The cost for the series is $149. Not the series, excuse me, the session.
This is for Name the Thing.
This is for Name the Thing. It's $149. The regular price is $179. So while listening, watching, I did see that someone actually scanned the Name the Thing and purchased. So yay, right? Live while we were on. Yep. Thank you so much for doing that. Scan $149. That's the price. We will hold on to that until as long as we can. We know times are tough, y'all. So as best as we can, we'll hold on to that. But during the last week, it will go right back up to $179. So
Understand Your Story is back at the regular price.
Correct. That is at $179. So
and that is a deal.
Come on, y'all. You'll get
both of us.
You get both of us. Look, I got a doctorate. I'm still trying to pay that sucker off. Come on, y'all. I got 2 children in college. Okay. We're trying to build something here. But $149, please join us. And as we begin to sign off, I want to say thank you for those of you who are joining. We got some love here. This is so powerful. Loving this conversation. We even just got a hi.
I love that. I'll take a hi.
We really appreciate it. And you know, this is a labor of love. It's almost like an everlasting baby that we keep having.
Yeah, exactly.
It's constant.
Keep working her over and over and over again.
But you know, in these times, in all seriousness, in these times, the community that is being created, whether you're creating your own community or you're part of this community's unwrapped community, is critical to our survival. It's where we're going to learn the tools, the strategies in order to push back on the forces that are trying to take us out. Secondary to that, it's a way to get energized, inspired, and reduce the isolation. You're not alone and you're not going to do this alone. So that's also one of our tenets is community, making sure that as women, we are in this together. And it doesn't go, of course, unnoticed that I'm Black and Kelly is white.
No.
Really. And we and we do this together. When we come off of this this stream, this live, for real, behind the screen, we talk every week. We text each other, we check in, we talk about the hard stuff, we talk about the great stuff. We wrestle with things that many folks in this country are not courageous enough to talk about. And for us, we have to do the work intersectionally if we want to do this work in service to women and to humanity.
Yeah. And I would say, if you look at through history, what happens when women come together, when women rise up into leadership, I was going to say a word, but stuff changes. Stuff changes. And right now, a lot of what we're doing is going to put a Band-Aid on our country to just get through putting the fires out. But we've got to decide, who do we want to be? And part of it starts with, how do we come into community with each other? And I'm looking at women, because I think women are I truly believe that women are going to be the future of this country, maybe even of the world, in terms of leadership. But we've got to come together in some way, and we can do that. I have, as Kendra knows, I have conversations with my own community about what does that look like, and how do you become a safe space for all women to be. And then the other thing I would say, and I just want to send this out before we sign off, and that is, Saturday is Valentine's Day. And for some people, they may or may not have someone special in their life, but you have the most precious person in your life, and that's you. And so here's the invitation that I'd like to give to you. And that is, on Saturday, take a minute and write a Valentine to yourself and tell yourself how amazing you are, how you just be in gratitude with yourself for just a few minutes on Saturday, and just talk to yourself in a way that you would talk to someone that you love. Yeah. How often are we critical of ourselves, and how do we? Have you ever thought about, if I talked to someone else the way that sometimes I talk to myself in my head, I wouldn't have any friends. I wouldn't have anybody coming around, because I'm so just take a minute, and I want you to literally sit down, get a pen, get a paper, and write a Valentine to yourself, and tell yourself why you love yourself so much. And then push that QR code and join us on either February 21st or Name the Thing on February 28th.
Yes.
I'll see you all there.
For sure. Thank you so much. Happy Valentine's Day. Valentine's with an N-E.
Yeah. You got to add that to your
girl, it's coming, right? Yeah. The TikTok is coming on the word Valentine's. Yes. But happy Valentine's Day to you all. We look forward to seeing you for Name the Thing, or for the remake of Understanding